Okay, and so guys, feel free to, until I start the actual listing presentation, feel free to ask questions. And then if you have any questions, you guys are pretty seasoned. Melinda, you're very seasoned. Tracy, you're very seasoned. If you have any questions, just write them down and we'll have time for Q&A, okay? And I welcome any suggestions, as we learn from each other. Oh, look at this mess. Would you be willing to?
Yes.
That's awful. Okay, so when I get to a house to do a pre-listing, oftentimes I don't know if there's competition or not. I don't know if they're interviewing anybody else. So I usually try to remember to ask that question. Sometimes I know that I'm the only one, but I still go through my packet. Why would I still go through my packet? Why would I even take one if I know I've got the listing? That's a question that I need answered.
Your system.
Well, I'm after something. So if I know I have the listing, what is the benefit of me going through my material? What's the benefit of me leaving anything for them actually? If I know I've got the listing. There is a benefit.
Melinda, help.
Phone a friend.
Well, I guess what first thing that comes to my mind is that it will uncover any questions, i.e. objections that they have.
Good.
And
Yes.
as you go through, hopefully as you go through, you're going to leave them with, you've already answered those questions.
Yep.
And
You're right.
So-
It's going to eliminate, or it's going to bring down probably a lot of the questions that they had. Because when I do buyer consultations, I'll say to them, what questions you have for me? And they're like, you covered everything. But there's another reason I want to leave it. The thing I'm after is referrals. I'm after them saying, oh my goodness, she was impressive. Here's some of her material. Take a look at it. Or you can have it. We've already listed. We're active. I want them to start, and I never said it in yours, but oftentimes I will say, who do you know that I could reach out and just introduce myself, whether I have their listing or not. I'm already planting the seed that I want to be referred. Melinda, I bet a lot of your business comes from repeat or them happy clients referring you. Am I right?
yeah, the majority is repeat clients and referrals from
Yep.
them.
And me too. And to get there, and Tracy, I bet you're starting to get some of those. It takes a while, but I bet you've done enough, you and Andrew, that you guys are starting to get, your phone starts ringing once in a while, and it makes you want to do a happy dance because it takes a while for that to happen.
Yeah.
And I think the common misconception about becoming a realtor, and Charlie Pogue told me that years ago, I thought because I had business cards and I'm a realtor, people would start calling me. That's not how it works. Not even his family did call him. They used other realtors. So all of that to say, now, and you guys know, because you've had enough training, when you arrive at a house, there's several different ways you can handle this. I prefer to have them take me through their home. That way I can start building my list for our marketing material. I can start asking questions and they can see it starts building excitement for me to list their house. And I don't ever want it to feel like a transaction. And recently, well, probably 3 months ago now, when Austin and I went up against two top agents, they told us one of the reasons they picked us is because we were so passionate about their home, that we got excited, that the other two just felt like this was another transaction. So to me, walking through the home, people love to talk, and they love to talk about what they've done to their home or what they love about their home. So I don't, and I've seen Diana Kokoskic, a lot of famous people, maps people have taught that you leave them at the kitchen table and have them starting to fill out information while you go tour to look at it as a buyer, from a buyer perspective. I can look at it from a buyer perspective, and I tell them that while they're with me. And that's just my preference. So, do what you want to do. It just serves a better purpose for me to walk with them, even if it takes longer. I'm going to have penciled out probably 2 hours. Rarely am I there for 2 hours, but some people are talkers more than others. And sometimes we can get them to sign the listing agreement right there. So my next point that if you're taking any notes, take a listing packet with you. Always have a listing, assume the sale, assume the listing. That's what good people in sales do, right? Without being pushy at all. Assume that, okay? Now I have coached Elena to press me for a listing price. Because how many times do you guys go to listing appointments and they want to know right now what their home is worth?
Every time.
Almost every time. And so unless you've been in that home before, or unless that home has been listed before, if it's an expired, you might be able to bring your CMA with you. And you might be able to knock it all out at once. Point number 3 or 4 or 5, whichever one I'm on, because I'm just going out of here. I could do this in my sleep. My next point is that, I always give them a listing range. I never tell them what I think your house is gonna sell for. And I always educate them on who or what the market is. Cause remember, it's not Amy that's come up with these numbers, it's the market that gives me the range based on real numbers. And I always say to them, I don't pull numbers out of the air. I don't ask you what you think your home is worth. Now, as I say that, every now and then, like, oh my goodness, God love them. There's twin brothers that live in Mayfield that have a house that their parents had built when they were little boys. And that house has been gutted and nobody's ever finished it. And they wanted to list it for 400,000. I can't list it for 200,000. So in that consultation, I said, I'm curious, what do you guys want to get out of this home? Because I had a feeling. I had a feeling that their expectations were so, I even got Glenn Ross from my church to come and take a look at it because he's renovated enough houses. After we got that price, I had Glenn come over and meet them with me because I knew how unrealistic and there's so much emotion. This is their homestead, if you will. So, get a feel for it, ask questions, and you'll see the very first question, 99% of the time I ask when I'm sitting down. I am gonna try to remember to ask Elena, are you interviewing any other agents? So kick me if I don't ask you that,
Okay.
because I forgot to ask that. Did I ask that, Murray, or I might have?
Yes, you did.
Did I ask? Yes,
You just
good.
didn't introduce me to your team last time.
I just forgot to introduce my team last time. I had the flyer, but I forgot to introduce them.
Yeah, you just threw that to the side.
Does anybody have any questions? We've got 5 of you? 4 of you? Do you have any questions before we get started? Okay. Once I go into my presentation, I'm just gonna stay in character, because I think to see a real life listing presentation is worth its weight in gold. I tried to get Melinda to do this, but David had surgery. Did he have surgery?
He did. I am gonna come to the meeting though, but yeah, he had surgery and we've been recuperating.
I know those days when Joe had his surgery down in Vanderbilt. But anyway, we'll be praying for David. I know his surgery got pushed back one time. So I do bring my listing packet, okay? And I think the Stevens Group has a really nice bound book. I think they redo it every year. I really want to get sponsors, but not a bazillion. And I want that red door. We actually have it all designed. I just got to slow down. I had to resign position so I could go after about 2 lenders, 2 inspectors, and 2 title companies or attorneys. And then they'll pay for my folders. But you know how you've seen them, Melinda, I know you've seen them where they're just plastered in there. I don't like that. I just want it really professionally done where there's just a couple of top ones that we highly recommend. I mean, if so, I might put them on the back. Just, I don't know. But anyway, I gotta make time because we have all this designed. I just need to go find my vendors. But anyway, I do bring this for my buyer's guide. I get the college report that you have that little thing you can slide down, because I got sick of doing our binder thing here and having it malfunction and not be able to get all the holes in. I just want to differentiate between a buyer guide and a listing packet, because sometimes we end up with both. We sell and then they buy. And so I used to put everything in a folder, so I just get these. The reason I like white is because the red for Keller Williams doesn't match a lot of the red folders. And this looks more orange, or the folders look, so I think white is classy. So what I put in, and so let me get started, because I'm gonna go through this with you. Elena, thank you for the tour of your home. You have a beautiful home. You guys have done a lot to it.
Yes, I'm hoping we can get as much out of it as we put into it, because we did so much work.
You did. I'm curious, do you know about how much today that you have put into your house?
I would say, I mean, I know that we put at least 25,000 into the house in just supplies, but that's not even counting contracting work and the work that we did and
You did some of the work yourself.
yes,
Yeah. I'm curious, how long have you been in your home?
4 years.
Okay, awesome. And why are you wanting to sell?
We really just need a better size for our family. This one's, we're gonna have our parents moving in soon. My parents are kind of in ill health, so we want to have them with us just so I can keep an eye on them.
Great. Well, we'll assist you with the buying side, and I have a whole different presentation for you. Used to call it buyer consultation, and that's really boring, I'm told, so now we're calling it strategy session. So we'll definitely schedule that, but let's get your house on the market and let's see what all we can do for you to get you top dollar, okay? I like to start off by asking you, I've got lots of notes because we do include a lot of that information as much as we can on the MLS. And it zips it out to over 350 sites where buyers are looking. But I also like to ask, what's the most important thing to you as you choose the realtor or you hire me to get your home sold?
It kind of goes hand in hand. Communication is really high for me, but also whoever can get me the highest price. Because
That's true.
some realtors are afraid that they can't get the price that I want. And so they won't even try it. So
Okay, so that leads me into another question. And you know what? Let me piggyback off of that. Communication is key. Do you know what the #1 complaint about realtors is for you sellers?
shot in the dark communication.
Communication. We slap a sign in the yard and we slap it on the MLS and we move on. And it's weeks before you hear back from us if we haven't had a lot of showings. The market is cooling, and I'm gonna give you a market update during my presentation to help you understand where I feel like we're at. We're still a seller's market. Barely, but we're still a seller's market, and I'm gonna tell you why I think we are. But yeah, good communication. And so what we do is we send you a seller update every other week, and that's gonna come from my marketing specialist. So let me start off by introducing my team,
Okay.
so I don't forget. We have a team. And so Jaden is our marketing specialist, and so every other week, you're gonna hear from Jaden, and she's gonna show you some of the ads that she has created. She's gonna let you know where we put them. She's also gonna let you know what some of the numbers are that we're seeing. How many agents have clicked on there since we listed it? How many days you've been on the market? Because some of this information, you just need to be provided on a regular basis. On the opposite weeks, I check in with you. If
Okay.
we haven't had a showing, I'm gonna be calling and saying, hey, you know, spring break just started, or fall break just happened, or kids are getting back in school, you're gonna see a little bit of a lull, more than likely. So we try to manage your expectations. We try to tell you what to expect. Because if you haven't, is this your first home that you bought, that you've owned?
Yes.
Okay, so it's your first time to sell. And so we're here to make sure you have all the information you need to make the best decisions for your family. We're not here to sell you anything. Nobody wants to be sold anything, but sometimes information is power if we put it to use. And so we want to provide as much information as you need. So on that note, up until 7 p.m., you can reach out to me and get questions answered. If I'm with a client, I will send it to voicemail. I will silence my phone and I'm going to be present with you. I don't even have my phone out. So just know we're gonna focus and we're gonna help each other figure this out and team up to get your home sold. Based on something you just said to me, you've interviewed other agents for this very
Yes.
important job?
Mhm.
Great. I think I really feel certain that you're gonna see some different things in here that maybe you haven't heard yet or seen yet.
Okay.
And feel free to stop me, ask questions, whatever you need to know, okay? The left side of my buyer's guide, and Elena, I'm not gonna go through every single page. Seller guide, thank you, that's been recorded wrong then. On my seller guide is gonna be information that's more about our marketing material, more about the company. But then on the right side is gonna be more about what we do specifically for our sellers, okay? So I always tell anybody considering working with me that when you choose me, you're working with the #1 real estate company in all of America, Western Kentucky. We're going on our 6th year, and the world. We are in like 50 countries. We're the biggest, and I think the best training out there. So this is 1 year, and this is another 2nd year of stats, so I'm not gonna go over that. When you list with me, we do top-notch flyers. So I have a couple of different options, and we have a bunch of different templates that we have created. But you can see that they're done on very classy paper. They're very professional. We do our best to highlight some of the things that we think make your property stand out. And some homes require more pictures than others, and other homes require a little bit more words, bullet points than others. So, you know, we will always, one of the things we really work hard to do is to get you the MLS listing and to get you the marketing material. Once we've signed all of our contracts and things, and we're your agent, we're gonna get your home sold, we want you to proof it. We want you to make sure all the information we provided is accurate. We do our best to provide above and beyond, because nothing frustrates me for my buyers when we look at an MLS sheet and there's hardly anything on there.
Right.
We got questions, and so we want you to provide us with all that information, which is why I took all those notes when we were walking through the home, because all that information matters on a huge scale. Okay, so any questions about the marketing material?
Just on the note of marketing, so, like I like to post in the marketplace groups on Facebook and things like that. So is that something that I can still do?
Absolutely, but we're gonna also do that for you. And so one of the documents I have that we'll be signing when you list with us is an advertising disclosure.
Mhm.
We just need it to be compliant so it doesn't get me in trouble. So we love to provide our clients with professional ads.
Okay.
We just need you to reach out to us, or we can zip you a couple. I can put that in your listing notes of your file. But yeah, we put them there too. So Jaden is gonna put them all over the mark everywhere.
Okay.
She's gonna hit all 13 counties, because somebody from Marion and Crittenden County might want to be moving to where you are, which is
Right.
Marshall County. Okay, and so we do all that, but have at it. You have a sphere that we don't touch, because we may not be your friend yet, and they may not be able to see it. So yeah, absolutely. We just need it to be compliant, and we'll go over that more
Okay.
when we're signing all the documents, okay? We also have a Matterport camera, so we do provide you with a floor plan. I think Gary Keller says 50 to 60% of all buyers value a floor plan. They can walk through your house before they ever walk through your house, not just with the 360 virtual that we're gonna talk about next, but with the floor plan. I think, depending on your personality type,
Right.
men and women value this floor plan. I sure value this.
So did Gary Keller create the floor plan?
He did.
Who is-
Matterport did.
Okay,
Who's Gary?
right. Who's Gary Keller?
Gary Keller's the owner of our company, Keller Williams.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, so yeah, so there's one the floor plan, but this is the 360 virtual tour. So for most of our listings, unless it's a total gut job or tear down kind of a home, we're gonna do a 360 virtual walkthrough. We want people to be able to walk through your home, so they want to pick up the phone and call us to get into that home. Okay, and that's where our professional photography comes in. This is a very high-end camera. Most of our pictures are gonna come from that very expensive, really top-of-the-line Matterport
Okay.
camera. Okay, and so we really pride ourselves in a good presentation online, but also in the home for buyers. Because some of the pictures that I see out there where the table is on the ceiling,
Right.
so we haven't even rotated the picture, or fingers are in front of it, or you can see the reflection in the mirror. We just want clean, top-notch photography, because that's gonna drive people to set up an appointment
Right.
to come and see your home.
And I mean, with my house being in the price point that it is, I would love for it to be professional and not tables on the ceilings and fingers on the lens and things like that.
Yeah, and you know what I'm talking about, because you've probably been online looking a little bit
Yes.
yourself, because you're gonna be moving, right? We do showing time, and so I do want to touch on this just very briefly. When an appointment gets requested to see your home, you're gonna get a text when I get a text. And we're gonna give you, depending on what you tell me, we'll hash out all the details. Do you want 2 hours notice? Do you need 4 hours notice? But you'll get it, and we'll give you some time to respond. If in about 30 minutes you haven't responded, I'm probably gonna pick up the phone and call and say, hey, we've had a showing request. You know, and I always tell all my sellers, don't put N for no, put a Y for yes, or pick up the phone and call me if we've got a conflict. Because I'm gonna call that agent and we're gonna try to work out something else, especially if it's an out-of-town buyer and today's the only day or that day's the only
Right.
day. So just know that we're gonna stay, but we're very automated. And it's wonderful for you, but it's wonderful for me too. Keeps us on the same page and in the same communication. I am a Dave Ramsey, North Local Provider Realtor.
Right.
June will be my 6th year. Are you familiar with Dave Ramsey?
Yes.
Okay, some people tell me no, and that shocks me, but anyway, so yeah, Dave, refers me a lot, and so it's a good partnership that we have. Once you get moved into your house, we give you a couple weeks. We do send out surveys, and again, you can look over these. I giggled, this one had me at a 9 and changed her mind to a 10 and said we did everything great. But yeah, we have a whole file full of these, and we
Okay.
are gonna ask for some feedback. Because I believe there's always room for improvement, and we wanna know, what did we do well? What could we have done better? And so feedback, and we're gonna also really ask you to jump on a couple of those online sites. 2024 is our year to get more feedback or reviews, I guess they're called, online. And so, before I jump into how we get your home sold and for top dollar, do you have any questions for me?
Do you have any idea, just after looking at the house, how much you would list it for?
You know, I don't. I'm very familiar with your subdivision.
Mhm.
Have sold a lot of homes here, have put buyers in some of these homes. But without seeing the amenities, I had none of this information. I mean, you've got $25,000 to $30,000 in this home, just in labor, just in materials. So I can imagine it's probably $50,000, $60,000. I needed to see all that. Give me 48 hours, and
Okay.
I'm gonna have a range of what I feel like the market is gonna support.
Right.
And the market are buyers. I don't set the price for your home, and Elena, you and your husband don't set the price for your home. The market does. And so we use real numbers. We don't pull them out of the air ever. We use real numbers to come up with a range that we feel the market will support. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, you're gonna be very busy, so put me on your refrigerator because you're gonna have lots of things to do. Okay, we're not gonna go through every single piece in here. I'm just gonna pull out like my top 3 or 4. Here is the whole process of from the beginning to the end. Some people, depend again on your personality type, some of you sellers really need us to hold your hand every step of the way. You might be one of those because this is a first for you. But then there's people who've sold 15 homes and they're like, I got this. I'll just have a couple questions along the way. But just know, we have it down to per box, what we're gonna do for you. And every phase from the prepare for the listing to the official start of the listing, from the contract to closing and then beyond. And actually, I have something here at the end. If you're moving out of state, and I don't think you are, I think you told me that you're staying in the area. Is
Yes.
that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Let me just note that. And of course, that consultation, that strategy session is gonna happen at a different time, and we're gonna get all of what you need in your
Okay.
next home. After we have that, then we have what I call our aggressive marketing strategy. Now, I'm gonna tell you, woven in here is our marketing. So
Okay.
you're gonna see digital, you're gonna see the camera, the printed marketing. You're gonna see some of what we'll do with a drone photography, because you have a little bit of acreage here. So we want to get a drone photographer over here,
Mhm.
and we want him to fly this acreage,
Okay.
okay? And so, but this is what we will do for you, and I've also included what else we'll do for you beyond just the actual marketing side of things,
Okay.
okay?
Mhm.
And so I'm not gonna go over all of this right now, because you're gonna have this to keep and look over.
Okay.
Any questions?
So what is pricing guidance?
That's
CMA.
that's the CMA.
Okay.
Okay, so you just asked me a great question. What is your home worth? I've got to go back to my office and draw a circle around your home.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna look for like properties. I'm gonna
Okay.
start with age of home, because we don't want to compare a new construction with your home, because it was built in 1975. But it has been updated, so we're gonna
Right.
have to find some updated homes,
Mm-hmm.
and we're gonna have to match some of that acreage.
Right.
You don't have any outbuildings, so I do the very best that I can with the comps I have on the MLS to find like properties.
Okay.
So that CMA is a comparative market analysis,
Okay.
and we're gonna compare your home to other homes like it, okay?
Okay.
And so we will do that CMA. Just know that Keller Williams listing service, Keller Williams has its own listing service. So not only we gonna put you on the MLS, the multiple listing service, it is 5 boards, 13 counties in Western Kentucky. So all those realtors that are in all the different counties are gonna see your listing at their fingertip
Okay.
immediately, as soon as we take you active. But we also have KWLS.
Okay.
And that means coast to coast, north and south, east and west. That would be, I guess, coast to coast, except for Canada. We have a coast down here too.
Okay.
It's gonna be all of, they cannot not find you,
Okay.
okay, on the internet. And I'm trying to think, is there anything else here? I
So
talked about
on
the
this
seller
note,
updates, sure.
Actually have a list of houses because before I even decided to sell, I did my own, I guess it would be considered a CMA. And I just looked on Realtor.com and Zillow for all the recent houses within a 15-minute radius of me. And
Okay.
pulled all of those.
Would you share that information with us?
Absolutely.
That would be very helpful. I bet you and I find some of the same information.
Okay.
But the problem I have with the Zillow sites is I feel like they're incomplete.
Right.
They're not an MLS. They're gonna give you some of the information, and believe it or not, some of the information isn't accurate.
Okay.
And so we're looking for accuracy, and we're wanting to compare apples to apples, you know, not apples to oranges. So yeah, I would value any of that information, so you and I can kind of compare. And at the end of the day, Elena, the range that we give you, you get to choose.
Okay.
You know what I'm gonna discourage you from, and let's stop right here now because it's a really good place to insert it. I'm gonna really discourage you from pricing above the market. And I
Okay.
want to give you a quick fishing analogy. Does
Okay.
anybody in your family like to fish?
My dad does.
Does your dad? Have you ever gone out fishing with your dad?
I have, but I read a book instead.
You read a book instead, okay, but you were out in that boat with
Yes.
him, right? And so I like to think of your house as the worm or the bait, what that fish is after, right? We got buyers, they're after homes, and we got fish and they're after worms. So we're sitting out on Kentucky Lake or Lake Barkley, one of those big lakes, and we're fishing, and we've got a big fat lively worm, and he's just flip flopping, but we're 2 feet above the water. We gonna catch any fish? We've got to not only get it in the water, we've got to get it to where the fish are actually swimming. Fish finders are pretty good for that on a boat. But if they're 2 feet below the water, then we need to be 2 feet below the water. If
Right.
they're 4 feet below the water and temperature of the water plays into where those fish are gonna be. It's exactly the same with pricing a home. We need to price it where the buyers or the fish are swimming. Okay, and so I'm gonna really discourage you. We're gonna take into consideration the money you've got into it, what all work you've done to it, that adds value to your home. That makes it worth more because you've done some upgrades and you've done some updates. But we are also gonna work super hard to make sure, and we'll know if we're overpriced because nobody will schedule an appointment. So let's talk about the market. When COVID hit, and I like to do my COVID analysis because that was a game changer for all of us in all arenas, in every aspect of our life. Price of homes were down here. It was a buyer's market for years. And then in June, COVID happened in March, February, into February, early March, and everything started changing. But I remember in June trying to get a buyer in a home, and it was booked for 2 days. What happened in that time frame is the market shot up 25 to 35% for homes. And guess what? We're still up here. But with the interest rates climbing last fall, late summer, they started shooting up, and about 50, I'd say, some people say 30 to 40%. I would probably challenge that, at least in Western Kentucky, and say about 50% of the buyers went away.
Okay.
But we still have more buyers than what we have houses to buy. During COVID, we had a 2-week absorption rate. What that simply means is that we had 2 weeks of inventory. That's not very much. And that's why we were seeing 5, 10, 15. I went up against 17 offers one time, 20 on another. We are still seeing some multiple offer, but they're fewer and far between. And there's not near as many because now we have about a 2-month absorption rate. When we hit 4 months, it's gonna be a more even playing field for a buyer and a seller. When
Okay.
we hit 6 months absorption rate, we're now in a full buyer's market, which is not where you wanna be when you're selling because you lose some value in your home. And so we're still up here, but prices are starting to adjust. They're not shooting back down. But some agents, but some homeowners are pricing them as if we were still up here and we're adjusting because remember, 50% of those buyers went away. Homes are not in as big of demand as they were for almost 3 years.
Kicking ourselves for not selling during the COVID high.
So you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
You're a smart girl. You've been paying attention to the market. We pay attention to the market and we try to educate you guys as we see another shift occurring. Now, the interest rates have come down. I had a buyer lock in at 6.25%. And I had a buyer a month ago lock in at 7.25%. So we're start seeing them down. I saw one bank show a rate for a 10-year loan of 5.99. Interest rates are still good, no matter what you're being told, no matter what you think, because when I bought in 1986, it's gonna tell you my age, I've been married not that long, 4 years. We had 11.8% interest rate. Interest rates are good. It's a great time to buy the right property. So just know that we're gonna help you figure out how to beat those little bit higher, little inflated interest rates
Okay.
when that time comes. This is some stats on me. I don't like to focus a lot on that, but I'm in my 14th year. So we have real experience and we have real expertise, and I am a true listing specialist, and we get the job done at a high level. The value of a listing professional, I am not gonna hound this because you got me sitting here and you talk to other realtors. You see the value in hiring an agent. Interesting fact, listed homes typically pull more money than for sale by owners. So kudos to you for not going that route because you have looky-loos and nosy neighbors and unqualified buyers. And we take care of all that, so we don't have people wasting a lot of our time. We don't want
Right.
people wasting our time. Your time is valuable and my time is valuable. The rest of this is just determining the value of your home. Love this flyer. So Elena, you see your house as a mansion. That buyer sees it as a shack, and it really is somewhere in between that. Okay, I love these pictures. I had Melissa find those pictures for me because I think it paints a real pictures. Sometimes we sellers have homeowners bias. And we think our home, you've done a lot of sweat equity. You've done a lot of work in your home. You paid money for your home to be updated, but it still may not be that $1 million mansion, right?
Okay.
And so just know that we've got to be in tune. We've got to be realistic. We got to be truthful. And all of those renovations that I wrote down are going to be on an additional features flyer.
Okay.
We want to spot them because I think it's going to help drive the price value up in the eyes and the mind of a buyer. So all of that is really, really important stuff. But just know this flyer, and I'm probably going to keep it near the front, is real important. Determining the value of your home. Okay, so I'm going to put that right there. And the rest of this, we don't really need to go over because you're going to have plenty of time to read through it. I will leave this here for you. Every detail matters. If you think of anything that you forgot to tell me when we were walking through, just jot it down and take a screenshot and send it to me.
Okay.
Okay, because we need all the information. Listening and beyond, we like to think of ourselves as a one-stop shop. We're not just here to help you get top dollar for your home and get it done in a timely manner and help you find your other home. But there's going to be a lot of details on the backside. You might need some more vendor names. You might need a mover name. We help you way beyond. And the other thing that we're really looking for even now, and if anybody comes to mind, I want you to write it on that tablet, who we can reach out and introduce ourselves to even now.
Okay.
40 to 50% of our business is based on happy customers referring us because we did a great job for them.
Right.
You know a lot of people, Elena, that I don't know. We're grateful for referrals and we have a great customer care program. So we reward you with pies. We have tacos on Cinco de Mayo. We do some fun things throughout the year. We give you a wreath at Christmas time, the year we sell your home. And so we do a lot of things, but we value referrals hugely. And we just want to thank you in advance. So if anybody comes to mind that
Okay.
I could reach out to and just introduce myself to, not try to sell myself to them, I just want to meet them. I just want to tell them a little bit about me, and hey, if you are thinking about selling or you need a house or you know of anybody who is, I would love, love, love for you to think of us and let us reach out and introduce ourselves to them as well. So that's pretty much it. Let me stop before I go over the rest of my team members, because I do want to talk about them a little bit. What questions out of all of that you heard do you have for me?
Questions, my only lasting question is just the pricing. Because my husband and I have a, kind of a number in mind, and
Sure.
I know that if we don't sell around that price, then it really wouldn't even be worth us listing.
Okay, are you
so-
willing to share that price with me?
Yeah, sure, 285.
Okay. You know, just based on what I know about your neighborhood, and I know a lot, I'm very familiar with it, I think this is very realistic, but I think it could be low
Okay,
based on what you've done. And so let me just give me 48 hours. I just need 48 hours. Most of my comp running is done in the comfort of my own home,
Mhm.
in between my sheets with my heater on this time of year. And because I'm with the clients usually throughout the day and doing showings and things and appointments and everything. So just give me 48 hours. I'm gonna be back in touch. I
Okay.
am curious. I would love to go ahead and set up an appointment to come back, but next time, I understand that your husband travels with his job
Mhm.
and he could not be here, but I would love to meet him and I would love to come back in 72 hours. Is he gonna be in town over the weekend? It's Thursday. Is he gonna be back in town, and does he leave to
Yes.
go out of town again on Monday?
He doesn't leave to go out of town until Sunday night.
Okay, I am more than willing. It's Thursday to come back on Sunday and Saturday sometime. Now, I do have a buyer coming in from Chicago, so I would love to do it earlier in the morning if we could,
Okay.
because we start showings at noon. So would a 10 o'clock appointment work?
That'd be great.
Okay, would you do me a favor and grab your calendar and let's go ahead and get it on here? And it will be February 3rd,
Yes.
okay? And I'll just text you, Elena, for you to confirm with Robert that that's a good time. Okay, I just named your husband. With
Okay.
Robert, that we can come back at 10 o'clock on Saturday, and I will have my CMA with me, and you both can ask all sorts of questions. And let's decide what your price is gonna be based on those real numbers. Fair enough? Okay, what else can I do for you today before I tell you about my team?
I think that's it.
Okay, so I'm the team owner and the listing specialist. Austin has been with me almost 2 years now. And he's now a buyer specialist and a listing specialist because he does such a good job on the listing side. Haley's, Autumn is actually our newest realtor. She's our director of operations. She's also our listing, Jane's our listing assistant now, but she's our transaction.
Okay.
So you'll be introduced to, if I'm out of town, I was out of town last week for pinting tournaments for two of my little grandsons. And I wasn't gone very long, but two of these people got clients in for us. So if you have a showing, we have somebody call on your house because my sign's gonna be in the yard. Just know that we've got help, we've got reinforcement, we can get that covered for you.
Okay.
Haley is a buyer specialist. Autumn focuses mostly on the buyer side when she steps out of all of her demands up on the team. And so this is us. And you're gonna meet all of us and we're gonna help you every step of the way. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put this back in here. Have you thought of anybody?
I mean, my parents, they were still, I think they were gonna try and, sell by themselves. Because my dad thinks that he can just do it on his own.
Okay,
Um,
has he ever sold a house on his own?
no.
Okay.
So he just thinks that he would be great at it, so.
Well, I'm gonna suggest once you and Robert have had a chance to go through all my material and you don't need it anymore, give it to them.
Okay.
And let them see the value. I think a lot of people, and I was a for sale by owner long before I became a realtor, I had no clue what I was doing. All I know is I got one really, really bad offer and a whole bunch of people that I figured out were not even qualified to buy my house when we lived in Louisiana. And so I would say, you know what, we don't know what we don't know, right? And kudos to them for trying, but maybe I could reach out to them and get an email address and send them some information about for sale by owners and the value a realtor does as opposed to this phone. So do me a favor, go ahead and write their name and their phone number down. Let them know that I'm gonna be calling, okay? And just to introduce myself, that's all I wanna do. So are you okay with that?
Yep, sounds good.
Okay, that's all that I have for you. I appreciate your time. We have our appointment set. Unless that changes, just know that I will be back here a few minutes early and we'll get started promptly. And I will have all my numbers with you and a price range that we
Okay.
can list your home for. I
Perfect.
will be bringing all my listing documents back with me. I do want to leave you with the seller disclosure. And so this is the only document that I would like you to go ahead and start working on.
Okay,
And so this is a document that protects you as a seller. You've owned your home for 4 years and it was built in 1975. There's a lot of years that you won't have, what time is it? It's at 10 o'clock.
9:32.
Okay, I know.
9:32.
I didn't say 5:32, it's not. 9:32, yeah, what is it even talking? I have it. And so. Just lost my train of thought.
Seller
Seller
disclosure.
disclosures. So I want you to, you don't have a quote, so just check, not applicable, that
Okay.
NA. If it's unknown, there's gonna be some questions in there that you're gonna go, gee, I have no clue. No, we'll take liability for some information about this home that you have no knowledge of. You know, if your home had termites before you bought it and the seller disclosed that, you might put on there per previous seller. Because chances are when an inspector goes in that crawl space, they may see some evidence in the attic or the crawl space. They may see a little bit of evidence. We just want you well protected. And I think a buyer has a right to all this information as well. So be as thorough as you possibly can be. Because think about it, when you're a buyer, you're gonna want a seller that you're looking at a house to be super thorough. But feel free to reach out as you're filling out this document to contact me with any questions that you have about it. Okay, so we're just gonna put that inside of here. So everything is put together. And let me know if you have any questions, day or night up until 7 p.m. And I thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to meeting Robert at 10 o'clock on Saturday.
Yes, sounds.
Okay, guys, that's pretty much it. It changes a little bit depending on what, what objections. I asked Elena to really give me an objection to ask for a price. Again, I said that at the very beginning, people typically are dying to know what their home is worth. I would be curious, what are some other objections you guys get? Or what are some other things that you guys encounter? And what questions do you guys have for me?
Hey, Amy?
Yes.
Can
Okay.
you do that pricing objection from the other angle? You said you thought she might be low, which is a wonderful subject to have. Let's go from the other angle. What if she had said, well, we think we should get at least 360,000.
I say, great, let me pull the comps and we're gonna let the market speak for itself. We're gonna let the market tell you what the value is. Now, Melinda, when I go back, that's when I'm gonna press and say, I'm curious, how did you come up with a $360,000 amount? I'm just curious why you think it's worth that. When you only paid 200,000 for it, you've got 60,000 in it. Why do you think it's worth another 100,000? And just ask questions, just come from curiosity and ask really good questions, because Linda Cecil has always said in my coaching session, so as my MAPS coach, self-discovery changes our mind. If we can discover that, I might be a little high, just by me asking questions to you, crunching some numbers with you, they're gonna be more likely to shift off of it. But I wanna tell you guys something that I learned. Did any of you guys during Bold do
Role play.
recon role play? Did you guys ever jump on? And it's
Oh,
at
I
8
watch it. I watch it almost daily. And sometimes
It's-
if I don't get to watch it daily, I'll go back and catch up on it
It's excellent. So
every
Linda, you
single
might
day.
be able
It's
to-
great.
It's great. You might be able to finish my sentence. There was a doctor here in town off of Friedman Lane. And she was in, I think, the Pines, actually. And anyway, she overpriced her house by like 200,000, maybe 150,000. Recon role play taught me she's moving to Colorado. She's a doctor. She's got a practice or she's got a hospital waiting on her. She has to sell. I should have taken that listing overpriced because it sold for like 635. And I told her it would sell between 600 and 650. Based on it had 4-car garage. It was massive and every room. Oh, did she overprice it? So guess what she did? After I went back over there, I gave her, Brandon Driver had been working over there. I went and helped her pick out flooring. I did all of this stuff like a year and a half ago. And she picked another realtor that listed it at $799. And it sat for like 9 months. I should have taken the listing. I should have said, okay, let's try it and let's talk about our built-in price reductions. Let's talk about what we're gonna do as a team.
So you chose not to take the listing?
She didn't call me to
Oh.
listen, and I knew she was gonna do that about halfway through because Autumn had met with her about the Matterport. And I mean, guys, we were all, but she would sign everything and she wouldn't sign the listed agreement. I didn't handle that right based on the recon role play. Well, let's say if they're just wanting to test the waters, would you still overprice it? Would you take it? Knowing that no way is it gonna sell. It may make you look bad, actually. That sign's gonna sit in the yard forever. And so Austin and I lost one. Austin and I had one in Cambridge Shores. He has been through 3 other realtors and it's now 200,000 down. It was a Lakeview only home and part of it got damaged. So the section that got rebuilt was great, but the rest of it was so dated. Closets were tiny and he wanted 600,000 for it. And he eventually sold it for like 400,000 or 365. It was so overpriced. And you know what? We kept following back up and we saw it active with another realtor. And you know what? I can't say that we went, oh my gosh, you know how you get that knife in your back or whatever feeling, kick in the gut? We didn't feel that way. He was so off of what he thought he could sell it for. And he was going to be hard to work it with, and you could tell that. I don't regret that one. I regret the doctor one, because in recon role play, somebody asked, would you take a high listing? And the guy who does it said, it depends on if they have to sell or not. If they have to sell, take it and work with them as time plays out in your favor. It's gonna play out like you know it's gonna play out. So Melinda, did I answer your question?
Yeah, but to go back to what you're talking about now, so this has been a subject for years that you see played out on various Facebook groups and all. And some people, I've always heard a lot of people say it's unethical to take a high priced listing, which I don't disagree with. However, what recon teaches, and I would like to, I haven't downloaded their 3-part, oh, I forgot what they call it, but that 3-part questionnaire, you know, that they talk about. They say, you know, tell them that if you know, that you'll agree to take the listing, but you want to go over the 3 scenarios there are 3 possible scenarios. Only one of these 3 scenarios are going to happen, basically, is what they're saying. And so they go over that, you know, what those are, and then and get buy-in from the seller about what happens, you know, for those 3 possible scenarios. Based upon, yeah.
That's really good.
And
You
then,
guys-
and then the way they word it, a lot of times the seller ends up seeing the wisdom in it and reduces the price. So
Yes, absolutely. Guys, I do want to cover one more thing and then let you ask questions. I would not dress like I'm dressed right now at a listing appointment. I would still have this shirt on, but I would have a skirt on, or I would have dressy black pants or dressy navy pants. I'm not going to wear jeans. That's just me when I want to stand out and look really professional. As I've taught, and Melinda, you've taught, we've all taught over the years, we've gotten some pushback from people who just want to wear their shorts in the summertime and have a Keller Williams shirt on it. And they say that how you look doesn't matter. I would agree with that with some people.
Right.
But then there's going to be people that really matters to a lot, actually. And I think the more professional we look, the more set apart we are. I forgot to talk about this at the Murray training. I think what you wear matters. I just do. If it's really cold out, I might have some really nice, they're more like jean black pants, but I have a nice Keller Williams blazer that I can look pretty doggone professional and still be out. If we're out trompsing farms and stuff, you know, when I'm with a buyer, I want to look equally professional, but I think listings are just enough different that, especially if you're going up against other agents, especially if you're going up against,
Did you
and
have
I
a
think,
blazer made?
what?
Did you have a blazer
No,
made?
whenever I go to family reunion, and I'm going here, I go and buy clothes. I've got quite a wardrobe of jackets and things.
Is this in y'all list?
They have, you can say, I need your credit card. And
Oh, yeah.
I can't help it if I charge mine on yours. Okay, guys, what other questions? Melinda, that was great information. Thank you.
Do you ever sign the listing agreement without a price on it?
Yes, I actually do. I had to stop and think about it. But boy, I get them that price really quick. I have with, Candy K Lane, and I did a Diana Kokoska, can I share this in the last class? Script, and I've only done it a couple of times in 14 years, because you gotta be bold to do it. But there were two other agents coming after me, and Lois Cook was her name, and she now lives in Knoxville. She goes, oh, nice paper. I mean, everything about my presentation, she was commenting on. You could tell she was impressed. And she's a very, I mean, it was a $500,000 house that they overbuilt. And so anyway, all of that to say, I said to her, I said, you seem very pleased with our aggressive marketing strategy, with the process. You know, we've got this. Is there any reason you can't call and cancel those other two agents? Now, her script says, can I call and cancel them for you? I don't like that. I would not call Sue Ann and say, I've got bad news for you and good news for me. How does this even look? I'm gonna ask her, but you know what she did? Right then and there. She said, let me do that. I'm gonna go with you. You're my realtor. So I did use that script. I haven't used it that much, but I did have her sign. Tracy, to answer your question, we had everything signed. I didn't, I told her I was gonna go back and upload this into Dotloop, and we were gonna put in that amount, and I was gonna put initials by there. So we know we did it after the fact, but yes, we got everything signed because I needed to come and take pictures like in 2 days. She was ready. She needed to get it on. Her husband had passed away. He was the Murray State girls basketball coach actually, and died way too young. That was their forever home. It was sad. And so, but yes, I have typically, a lot of what I go on, Tracy, like what you go on, some of what you go on, I know that I've got the listing. So I'm not as adamant, but it ain't your listing until that's signed. And I've had people sign it and then change their mind. So even if they sign it, yeah, there are no guarantees in our business, right? But yes, I take my whole listing packet with me, guys. Because I'll say to them, let's say Elena's husband was here, and let's say Robert said, I really want to go with Amy. I say, great. You got this to look over. Give it to your mom and dad. I'd love to become their realtor. Let's get some of these documents signed. It'll take us about 20 minutes. And I will thoroughly explain every one of them. I've had that happen. And guys, keep 1 or 2 of these in your car at all times. I love you guys as listing. Keep it in the back pocket of your car. Keep listing and buying documents. Keep your buyer guide in there because you never know when you're gonna need it. Okay, be prepared at all times. And I would go, I think I look okay. I would go if I had an on the spot, and that's happened to me before, I would absolutely go in because I think I look professional enough for an on the spot. But if I have an appointment, I'm gonna make sure, because I hesitated. I thought, do I change? Because I've got to do that. No, these guys know me well enough. So any other questions before we wrap this up? Thank you, guys. You've been really, really good. We can end recording, because we got the meeting that's gonna be starting shortly. What time is it?
9:44.
9:44. Okay, we did good. We did this. Yes.
I came in late. Can you?
Sure.
Right.
No problem. See,
Thanks, Amy.